All right. So again, instead of doing the C minor shape here, let me zoom out a wee bit. Instead of doing the C minor shape, we can always move up one cage shape, right? So here's our C. We can move up one cage shape to a shape. So why can't we do the move that up to an A minor shape? Okay, because it's a little difficult to get the C minor shape in the C box. It's difficult to get the C minor shape anywhere. Good guitarists know how to do it with partial strings. So it'd be root 5/3 on the bottom for like a nice bass line or something. But this is second inversion. Okay, there's your C minor second inversion. And of course, then we have root, the G shape. So we've gone from the C to the G shape. So that's a fifth of it. Remember, string shapes go up in fifths. Okay, so that kind of thing. But if we want to play all 6 strings, it's easier just to go to the A minor shape at that point. And that's why I put this I borrowed this little fret from A minor. And it's important to understand now this is a particular advanced point in the lesson. And that is when we do a new bar here, or even using the same bar. Okay, so let's just look at something different, just to get something different on the screen here. So we have the A regular shape. All right, so remember, A has the fifth on the bottom of the cage. So we're going to go up to the G here. Remember, this is my G. Okay, we're not going to do a G minor yet. So this is the A cage. All right, and the point is, when we start adding, the problem is when we start adding flats, what is here on the bar? So here we've added this flat here. Well, no problem there, because in the A shape we're going to go 5 root 3 right there. 5 root 3. Okay, and A shape C in my case, A major. That's it up there. That is before we get to any of this, we do that A major shape. But look what's sitting right there on open. So that helps us, because one of the flats is on where we're going to be barring, whether we're going to be barring there or moving the bar up at all. But if we have one of the naturals of those flats, now remember, 2 is not the natural of 3. Okay? In some of the other shape we might have that. For instance, if we're flatting, let's see, where do we have that? See, remember, these are scale. Remember, this is a little half step here. This is a little half step here. 5 to 6 is a little half step there. Okay, 6 to 7 flats a little half step. 2 to 3 flats a half step. 5 to 6 flats a half step. Okay, root to 2 flats a half step. Remember, these are different keys, so we can have more than 2 half steps in the, you know, we're looking at more than 2 half steps. But if we have 3 flat here and we want to do a G minor shape, which is root 3 flat 5 root, we can't just play this open string. And this is the problem right here in the G box. We would have to play a 5 there, or a 5 flat actually, you know, a 5 or a 5 flat depending on which mode we're in here. But we would not want to have that 3 natural right there. That's the point that I was making before. And so we have to do that. Even when we move up to the next shape, would be the E shape, E minor shape would be 5 root 3 flat there. Now we would be out of trouble there because we've got 5√3. The 5 is covering up the open 4, so we're not going to have a problem with like a suspended sound in our chord. Here's our E minor. Remember, caged advance, C-A-G-E-D. G minor goes to E minor. So there's our E minor, 5√3. That would be the fret nut. If you move that shape up, because it's difficult to make a G minor shape, a G-shaped minor, G minor shape. It's nice up here. We have with the G, I'd have to move the capo up here. With the G, it's nice up here where we have 3 flat 5 and root. Okay, so this is a first inversion, G minor shaped, D minor in my case. First inversion. That should be D minor. My bad there. C minor, first inversion. C minor, remember, redundancy. We're doing this in C minor. This is redundancy in the chord shape. Okay, up in the A minor, you know, this is the 3 to the bar right here. 3 flat 5, 5 in root, 3 to the bar, C minor. Nice, very nice. That's your C minor shape. In and around the lake. Okay, so we're back. I had to take a little break and the wife's home. So we want to bring this segment to a close, and we'll make it all one lesson. And so let's look at the E box. Again, we have the redundancy. We're looking to take the E shape and then make it a minor. So we have E minor Dorian, E minor Aeolian, E minor Phrygian. But once again, how do we know which one we're playing? When you play a simple E minor in the E box, now I happen to have the E box down on my fret nut. Okay, with yours, the E box, you could do it in the key E up here. Mine's down here, C. Same thing, E shape. So when we do an E minor, how do we know which is it a Dorian E minor, Aeolian E minor, or a Phrygian E minor? So let's look at what we're playing here, action fingers. We've got root, we've got 5, we've got root, we've got 3 flat when we drop the 3, the E shape, 5√3 right there, E major shape. Okay, that's the E up here on the that's +0. That's the E major shape. 5√3 right there, 3 flat. So it's E minor shape. Okay, and then we have the 5 in the root. So no problems. The 5 is suppressing these two notes, which wouldn't be a good thing to play. 5 flat would be a good thing to play if we were doing a diminished or something like that. Flatting the 5th. Actually, there is no. Hold on. Okay, my bad there. Yeah, the 5 flat is in the picture. It's just the key of 2 flat. I didn't see it in this comment. You have to be careful. Which flat are you adding? Again, which key is it? The flat. It's the flat. The key is the flat. The second to last flat you added. So we could play that flat, and it'd be like a Locrian, you know. But so that's not a bad. But we want to play the 4th. But it's still okay to play. You know, it's okay to play the 4th if we're doing something like that. Okay, simply dropping the 5th to the 4th would be like this. Okay, do we have another 4? Maybe. Here's an E shaped C, E shaped C, and then I drop that 5 to a 4. It's kind of a, you know, it's not totally wrong, but it's really not right. That's why playing the 5th there, of course, that's what the E shape is. That's fundamental to the 5 shape anyway. So you have to have it there, or you're just not playing. You're not playing a root chord. You're playing this. You know, you could do a bounce back and forth between those two. Hey, we're out of time. It's been a good lesson today. We'll pick up this subject next time.